Hey everyone, and welcome to episode 183, believe it or not, of the Custom Apparel Startups podcast. This is Mark Stevenson.
And this is Mark Vila. And today we're here to talk about monthly business to-dos. So to-do lists every month.
Man, I run into this all the time, and it's something that we should have been doing for the past, decade for ColDesi and Coleman and Company, just having this kind of checklist approach. And we've only recently adopted doing things like this. And so far, and I'm doing that, in my side hustle business, and I know a bunch of business people that are just starting to get into this. And it's just a matter of figuring out what you need to make sure of every month, because when you don't, terrible or hilarious things happen.
Yeah, I would agree. Terrible or hilarious, or maybe worse, missed opportunities.
Yeah.
You know, the kind of thing where you just you want to kick yourself, be like, oh, if I would have just, then I could have. And it could be money making opportunities or money saving opportunities, or just headache avoidance opportunities.
So these bullet points are going to be in the show notes. You are welcome to grab them, if you're on your desktop or later on. But let's jump into it, because this first one we just started doing recently, and I was shocked in review pricing.
Oh, okay. So yeah, that's a good point. So yeah, this is essentially what we're saying here is just take a look at all of your pricing, your retail pricing, essentially, of everything that you sell on a regular basis, and make any determinations. Is the price wrong? Right?
Yeah. And not just that, but is the price wrong for your business? And is the price incorrectly displayed? Right. So two different things. When we go through this past month, we went through our pricing for our digital heat effects product line. And I think we identified 34 different places in the ColDesi, Coleman and Company digital heat effects universe where the price for one or more of the digital heat effects machines was displayed. So now we know, because we were having those issues. We'd forget to add a special to one page that was on another, or there'd be some small change in the package or something like that, and we'd forget. So now we've literally got a spreadsheet that has each individual page. So when there's a price change, our review pricing list starts with, okay, go through each one of these pages, make sure the price matches what we have decided the price should be, or the price change needs to be.
Yeah, it can be a challenge, especially if in your business you work with flyers or brochures or anything that could be printed or posted online. That is maybe a non-dynamic document. That can always be a challenge for you. So you want to have a list to make sure, do you have multiple price sheets?
Yeah.
Do you work with schools, and maybe you have a price sheet for each individual school? So you've got maybe half a dozen price sheets. Well, you just found out that the cost of one of the t-shirts that you sell has gone up. Now, maybe you have stock, so it was okay while the month was going on.
Right.
You were still profitable, but that come September or October, you're going to have to re-up at the new higher price. Have you prepared and updated all of those? Do you have a list so you can go ahead and get those out to your vendors or your customers, I should say?
Yeah, because what you want to avoid is getting a nice order from a school or a good customer, and then realizing you're losing $1 an order because you forgot to update the price list.
Right. And I think the opposite is true too, which we don't think about it as much necessarily, but is there opportunity for a price to go down?
Mm-hmm.
Because, and I'm sitting on one of those opportunities now, right?
Okay.
Actually. So Mark knows I got a new chair recently. And one of the things I noticed, I got an alert on my email, and it said, an item you're looking at, the price went down. Right. And the price of this chair that I looked at 6 months ago went down like 40%.
Right.
So I started shopping chairs. Apparently, just in this day and age, there's probably an abundance of chairs. I'm assuming some sort of a work from home 2020.
The famous office chair glut of 2022.
Yeah, that everyone wanted a new chair to work from home in, and then the factories in China started making an infinite number of chairs, and then eventually they ran out. So now the price of chairs dropped. Well, if you're an Amazon seller and you're selling chairs like this and you haven't checked pricing, you could still be running a chair that's 30-40% higher than everybody else.
Yeah.
And potentially losing customers you didn't even know you were losing.
But I think we should adapt that for our customers. If you were selling custom chairs,
yes.
Customized chairs. All right. So I think review pricing is a great idea, and it should be done, at least every month. I mean, really, even if you think your prices haven't changed, that's probably not true. Something has changed.
And
you should take
I think a good way to do it is, especially on standard products that you sell often, there's probably not a lot of them. Right. So you kind of you go through, you take a look at invoices, you kind of compare some data, you check if you got any emails or notifications or letters from your vendors, just double check those. Okay, yes, I remember getting something about this going up. Did I make any proper adjustments? Also, what I like about it, and one last thing, is it's an opportunity for you to get that letter or notification, or you go to shop online and you realize the price went up, that you don't have to burn everything down and fight that right that moment.
Right.
Because you're going to buy supplies and make something custom and deliver it to a customer. That's your plans for today. You don't want to interrupt that with having to adjust pricing on all of your products and do it haphazardly in the middle of a busy day. So you know that on the 2nd of next month, you're scheduled to review that. And hey, okay, everything's fine for now. I'll make through, and then I'm scheduled to look at this in a couple weeks.
I think the 2nd is a good idea, because this is actually September 2nd.
There we go. That's why I said it, actually. I'm glad you picked up on that.
That's why you picked that number. So I agree with all that. And then the next thing to do, and it's kind of what we just talked about here when we're looking at our websites to make sure that all the pricing is right, is that's really kind of part of a marketing check-in. You really need to take a look at your marketing universe, what you're selling, how much it is, et cetera, at least once a month, to make sure that you're staying on track with your customers and your own business.
Yep. Yeah. The marketing check-in is something we've actually discussed many times on the podcast. We've talked about doing annual ones and regular ones and marketing planning and stuff like that. But a marketing check-in, I think, to summarize it, is, in my opinion at least, is everything that's outwardly facing to your customers should have a degree of check-in or checkup once a month.
Yeah.
This doesn't necessarily mean you have to read every paragraph of every social media post and every flyer you have, but you should have a running kind of thought process of, are these things still relevant? Is there anything that has changed recently? And if you have a monthly check-in scheduled, if you notice that, again, example, you get an email, these items are on sale, they're discontinued, coming soon, right? You don't have to tackle it then, but you know that you sell that hat.
Yeah.
So potentially what you do is you add it to your list, your marketing check-in, and then you put on there, I'm probably going to want to take that hat off of my website because it's discontinued.
Yeah. Or you're going to take advantage of any kind of discounted prices from that vendor and have a closeout sale. So buy them all and have a sale for the coming month.
Right.
Because that's the other thing to look at, is to figure out, are you going to engage in any promotions next month? What are the sales going to be? That's now on ColDesi's list, and why we put together that list of the 34 pages, for Digital Heat FX, is we need to find out not just what changes we have to make, but, we talk to our vendors to see if there's a financing special that they've got, or maybe one of our vendors has asked us to, has given us more supplies that we can give away with our units, or maybe we've negotiated some kind of a deal with the freight company so we can offer free freight on more things. It's, you really need to take a look for a minute at least and see if there's anything that you want to change for the season or for the month coming up.
Yeah, that's great. And sometimes what's so hard about this is, guys, you're telling me obvious stuff. Right? I mean, that's somebody said, this is obvious stuff. What am I getting out of this? I'm telling you that Mark and I both know this because we both have worked over our entire careers independently with small business owners to help them out. How many times have you gone to somebody's website and filled out a form and they don't even get it?
70% of the time.
Right. Or just
wait. I'm not making up that number. It's literally 70% of the time.
I had somebody that I was talking to recently, and I said, I think it's super cool that you do this. Oh, no. Oh, actually, we don't do that anymore. Oh, okay. He's like, yeah, I haven't done it for like a year at least. Not since, okay. I don't think we've done that since like 2019. By the way, if you're listening to this in the future, it's 2022.
Right. Actually, even if you're not, if you're listening to this in the past, it's also 2022.
If you're listening to this in the past, 2020 is a weird time.
Just skip it.
So, but anyway, I'm not even sure where I was going, Mark.
No, neither am I. But I will say
I do know. Okay. So this person said, I hadn't even sold that in a couple of years. I don't even do that in a couple of years. And I said, it's right on the front of your website. It's on the homepage. It's like in the main banner. And they're like, oh, you know what? I just really don't go to the homepage often. I go to other pages and I share these posts and blogs and stuff. So I'm all over the website every day, but I'm not really on the homepage hardly ever. I didn't even think about it.
Right. And that's that. I mean, really, and like I said, I think I mentioned, we just put together this list of the 34 pages where Digital Heat FX pricing lives officially. We would always go through all the websites, but we really never had this page, this page, this page, and this page. And we've been selling Digital Heat FX for 8 years, something like that. I mean, it's been a long time. So, but there are other things than just, checking your website for updates and changes. I'm going to and checking for what promotions that you want to run next month, if the pricing needs to be changed. I also want you to really just quickly make sure that the phone number on your website is correct and that it works, that your contact form works, like Mark Vila mentioned, and that any links that you've got to social media, because one thing I also found is people will develop their websites from a template, and it will have like 57 social media links at the bottom to services that no one actually ever goes to. Yeah,
there's still a Vine link down there.
Blogspot, no one knows what that is. So and if I go and click on those, it takes me to spam pages, or it takes me somewhere I don't need to go. So you should go through all those social media links and review those too.
I can't tell you how often, the interesting part about this, I guess, is so often we go to larger company websites in general, right? We're going to Lowe's website and Walmart's website and Target and CVS and Walgreens. And we go to all these websites that have massive teams of people that monitor and do things with the website. I mean, the teams are so big. I may have mentioned this before in the podcast. A friend of mine, his job for a large company website was he would get a report from somebody, and then he would make sure the ticket was entered in correctly and all the links were right and it was spelled right and it made sense. And then he would make sure that it was in the queue properly. So he was like a bit of that office space. So it's like, so you deliver it directly to the engineers? Well, no, I don't deliver. Like, so he was that's
and now
what he
I want
did.
to hire that guy. It sounds very
and by the way, I think it was like a 6-figure job. So it's like he was amongst the team. Now, the reason I bring that up is because you go to Target all the time and you're never going to see on the top of Target's website 4th of July sales still showing up in August.
Right.
Because they have a whole team of people who does this. But when you end up on small business websites, and small business, I mean, meaning you don't have a dedicated team of people who just look at the website all the time.
Right.
Small to medium-sized business, all the time there are stuff mentioning we're closed for New Year's Eve.
Oh,
and
yeah.
It's like March. I mean, I just see this stuff always.
I'm actually adding right now to our little bullet points. Check your phone message.
Oh yeah, voicemail message, email auto replies. I got an email auto reply from a business not too long ago when I opened up a support ticket. That was like a 3-month-old thing about how an update to their software was coming in January. And I was like, it's like April. So I replied back and I said, if the software didn't come out yet. And it was like, there was already 3 updates since then.
I would have just been, how'd that go?
Yeah, how'd that go? So point being, I know this is all obvious, but you're going to miss it if you don't pay attention to it.
Yeah.
So you should pay attention to everything we're saying here, and you should write some of this down and put it on a calendar event and do it. Otherwise, the obvious things are what get past you.
Yeah, and don't forget, just kind of the last bullet on this marketing check-in is to actually go through your social media profiles as well. You know, if you have a Facebook page, a Twitter account, Instagram, if you've got TikTok, if you've got LinkedIn, even if you don't use them regularly, you should go through once a month, just see if you've been spammed, make sure all the information is correct, make sure you've got a picture, that the headline's still appropriate, even make any little changes that you want to. Like tell them you're now offering XYZ or there's a promotion coming this month.
And some people will, or not some people, I mean, whatever you want to call it, some people will put up a social post with the intention of not leaving it up forever.
Oh, yeah.
Like maybe it's like, oh, all new, right? You know, or product is on sale, or I want to announce a temporary huge price break because of XYZ. And then you post that on there. You're like, I just want to have this up for like a week for anybody who might see it, but I don't want to show it forever because I don't want anybody to know in the future I ever sold it for that price.
Yeah.
And then you forget, and it's up there, and you only post like twice a month. So it's only like 6 things down.
Yep.
And December comes and somebody says, hey, I saw you had that t-shirt on sale for this price. I'd love to get that price. Well, now the price has gone up twice and you sold it on a clearance sale for some other thing. And you can't offer that. So it's another thing to it's a great thing to go to your social media and do a little mini scroll.
Yeah.
You know, what if somebody came here, what would they see in 5 seconds of scrolling?
That's great. That's a great tip.
Yeah. And make sure that you're still happy with that. And if you're not, fix it.
So the next one is one that's also kind of very close to my heart because I've actually been doing this for years, and that's doing a financial review. And I'd suggest you do it for your business and how that relates to your personal finances as well. Especially if it's just you or you've just got one employee, is to take a look back at the prior month and look at your revenues, your profits, and your expenses. And by look at it, I mean, look at it, figure out how much it is if you can't pull it easily. Is there anything unusual about it? Did you get a particular high bill you don't recognize? Did you check your credit card statement and see if one of your people subscribed you to something? Or if there's something that you're subscribed to that you no longer need? Maybe it's a software. Maybe you got overcharged for supplies or printing or something like that. Doesn't match your PO. Really just digging down and looking at this picture of, this is how much I made, this is how much I spent, here's my profits, with all the details in between, is really vital to your ongoing business health.
Yeah. And it's one of those things that a really good habit of this is going to help you catch stuff before it's too late or before it's frustrating or annoying. You know, and all different little types of things can happen in that financial review. You can realize that in your Square or Stripe app, you didn't have it default to collect tax.
Yeah. And
then you weren't collecting your little 6, 7, 8% tax that you needed to, and you've lost out on that money now because the government still wants it. Yeah. Also kind of in that financial thing is wrote down like fees and dues and monthly fees and things like that. An interesting thing about this is you may be a member of the Chamber of Commerce and there's an annual fee and you like being a member,
Right.
assuming, right? Then, did you get an email about to pay that? Did you put that email aside because you're going to pay it later because you're about to walk out the door?
Yeah.
And how do you know to check up on that stuff if you don't have a scheduled review? And then
or maybe you notice that it was auto debited and you never go and you don't want to be a member anymore.
Yeah.
But you just spend $300-$600 on an annual membership again.
Yep.
So I think that's really important. And of course, taxes, super important. You might want to get on the phone if you're at this level with your accountant or your CPA. Just talk over taxes. Did you pay your payroll taxes? Do you owe Social Security? Do you owe all of those federal taxes that come along with owning your own business? Is there any licenses that you skipped? I know we're going to get into that later, but it really is part of the financial review to see, if you're paying all your bills. It's one of them.
Yeah, paying the bills, money is coming in. Also, overdue invoices.
Oh, shoot.
Is something that lingers so often. And side note on that, I mean, especially when you're selling a tangible good, I wouldn't put any money into anything unless you've got some money up front.
Yeah.
Especially on a tangible good. This is a complete side note, but okay, you have a potential client and they wanted you to mess with something on the logo and you said, you know what, this is probably going to take me 15 minutes and I'll do a good faith type of thing. And you throw 15. I mean, I'm not going to tell you don't do that. I think I do that.
Yeah.
I'll pay you tomorrow. Just get started. I'm in a rush.
Right.
Don't order those shirts because I'm telling you, the person who's in a rush who can't pay you today to order those shirts is not going to pay you tomorrow.
Yes, because
100% chance of that.
Right. Because unless you're selling $20,000 worth of stuff.
Yeah.
They've got a credit card that has $200 on it.
Right.
That they could give you right now.
Immediately. I'm driving. Okay.
Pull over
a quick sec. Like, where are you? Are you on like the Autobahn going 100 miles per hour with no place to pull over? You're stuck in traffic. Yeah, pull into the gas station parking lot real quick. I mean, don't let people bog you with excuses because they're going to try to manipulate you. Those people who would do that, and next thing you know, you've got 100 shirts that you've made and somebody who's still going to pay you tomorrow.
And the other reason why you want to look at this is because it's super hard to collect on an old invoice. Yeah. So for example, if you send out an invoice to a customer that maybe they put a deposit, they just owe the rest, and they didn't pay within the 15 days or 30 days, and you check and look, you send them a bill, you just send them a reminder email, and they didn't pay again. If you don't see that until the next month, now you've got something 2 months old. Mm-hmm. The person doesn't even want to pay for it anymore. They may not remember the details of the order. It's just, there's no motivation. You've really got to tighten that up. Part of your financial review, make sure no one owes you any money.
Yep. And it's much easier to collect 2 weeks later than it is 2 months later.
Yes. Agreed.
Yeah. So, well, good. So I think a financial review is important. There's a million other things we could talk about in there. I personally recommend you use software, something like FreshBooks or QuickBooks or something like that. Something that will easily track it. Most of the online stuff now, I think FreshBooks is something silly like $7 a month for the starter package, and it does all this smart stuff. Not that I'm advertising them specifically, but I've used them. And it, like, you can auto set stuff to clients. So just your quick reviews are very, very easy. So I'm going to recommend getting off those Excel spreadsheets and getting onto some sort of software that will be a little smarter, include some email reminders, have colors of things that are paid and not paid automatically, and stuff like that. And maybe even syncs with your credit card software. It'll make your financial reviews much easier. And if you're really bad at financial reviews, it's easy to give an accountant or somebody who is good at that stuff permission into one of those pieces of software to be a viewer or something like that. So you can have somebody review that stuff for you and let you know if there's a problem.
So that brings us to doing your sales review, which I like that it's separate from your financial review. I mean, you should be looking at what your numbers were last month versus this month, last year. Make sure you're either growing in revenues or profits, or you're at a comfortable level and you're happy with your current performance. And the way that sales review kind of should break down is you should know how many customers you've got, how many new ones came into your business, you know, and this will kind of give you the early signs. Like at ColDesi, we very closely track how many people made inquiries about our equipment. So, you know, we track that on a daily basis, on a weekly basis, on a monthly basis, so we can see our new potential customer trends over time. Right. So you should be doing the same kind of thing, even if it's 1 or 2 a month or 5 a month. You should know.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I think, and I think another cool thing about like the sales stuff is it's an opportunity to get excited about stuff that happened.
Yeah.
You know, like just looking at that money that came in again and being like, oh man, I remember, you know, that lady just called me up out of the blue because I went to a lunch party of some sorts, you know, an event. And I said, hey, I do custom mugs. And then I got a phone call the next day that was so cool. That reminds me, I should probably do more stuff like that.
Yeah.
You know,
hey,
I think that's very
actually
cool.
what they're probably thinking about themselves is, I remember when I listened to the podcast, the CIS podcast about, you know, networking and how to approach people. And I did that. Then a lady called and ordered custom mugs. Okay. So that's the good news, is how many new customers you got, and think about how you got them. And like Mark said, whether or not you want to do more of that. Also take a look at any customers that you may have lost. And I'm going to break that down into 2 categories. Those are deals that you had expected and quoted on that did not close. So I feel like that's kind of a little personal review. If you'd expected to get 2 orders from a local high school and they did not come in, then you should know why. Because it may be a lost customer. You may have lost that business, or there may be something you can do to close that order now.
I think that that's a really good part of the monthly review, especially as you are, if you're a business that's still of the size where you can individually review orders like that, to find out why you lost deals. You can't win them all, and that's okay. And you should be happy to only win the deals that are the best for your business. But if you lost a deal because of pricing and you realize that low price is just something that you reasonably won't work with, then that's okay, you know. But and you then look at that profile of customer and you realize, you know, maybe that's not the right type of customer. If you lost a deal because you didn't follow up, because you forgot to follow up via email, it makes a case for having a CRM or some sort of a reminder system to remind you to follow up.
I mean, honestly, feel free to beat yourself up a little bit about that.
If you didn't follow up,
if you didn't follow up and there's a deal out there that you didn't get because you forgot, then you should re-examine your whole life.
What you should do is you should say, how possibly can other businesses remember to follow up? How do you remember everything? And then you don't remember everything. You have software or tools that help you remember, like a CRM. And we have episodes about CRM, but a customer relation management software. And that is something that you can email a customer a quote and then set yourself a reminder in that software to remind you in 48 hours to ask if they have any questions or whatever it might be.
Absolutely. I love that.
Yep. And that's a great part of the sales review is understanding that any lost deals in general, why you lost them, and then if you're okay with the loss or not.
Right.
Like I mentioned, if the price was
Yeah.
too low, well, then I'm not going to sell for that price. That's okay. I forgot to follow up with the customer. Shame on me.
Yeah. There you go.
Mhm.
So I think also to take a more global look and figure out, and we've talked about this before for a year, an annual recap is just take a quick look and write down what your best sale of the month was and your worst sale.
Mhm.
So your best sale might be measured in a couple of different ways. Could be the one that you made the most amount of money on in profit.
Mhm.
Could be the one that was the most profitable, which means maybe you sold 5 shirts and you made as much money as you would normally sell 10 or 20 shirts.
Yeah.
Right. Or it could just be you enjoyed the heck out of it. Like it was
fun.
It was a multimedia thing that you were really excited about doing. You got to do it. So that's the best sale of the month.
Yeah, it's something that you would hang up on the wall to show future customers.
Right.
Another best sale of the month could be you've got a really small order, but for a customer with huge potential.
Yeah, I like that.
Like I only did 5 shirts, but it's for the National Such and Such Society, which I know has 10,000 members and 20 chapters, and I'm in now. Like, how am I gonna advertise to that group so I can get deeper into that group later? So that's another potential best sale of the month. Those are really opportunities for growth.
I love that.
Yeah,
So,
and the worst also could be just terrible customers.
Yeah, it could be could be an
Jerks.
unprofitable job.
Yeah,
somebody you hated talking to on the phone.
Yeah. I mean, I think one of the best things you could do as a business owner is not do business with jerks if you have that opportunity.
Yeah, if you are in an ownership position, then you can definitely do that, and I encourage you to do that.
Yeah, I think.
Unfortunately, if you're not in an owner position, like some podcasters I know, you're just not allowed. You're just not allowed.
No, it's true though. And all of it. I think that the best part about if you're in an owner position is this best and worst sale of the month, you get to define all that.
Right.
Based on your goals and dreams, and I think that like that's the kind of thing that gives me chills type of stuff is like, gosh, you get to decide what the best sale of the month is. If you're profit driven, it's that. If you're happiness driven, it's that. Whatever it is. So I think that's super cool.
Cool. So we should probably revisit the legal stuff again.
Yes, legal stuff just kind of being the last one on the list. I just define the stuff as the stuff that can get your business shut down, the stuff that can prevent you from doing business in the future, the stuff that can cause you to have to pay fines or being able to stop you from growing or doing something that you want. So tax filings, certificates, licenses, what else?
Yeah, so I think that you need to make sure that you have your local business license. I mean, the basics for setup, because a lot of people will get started and they'll get a little bit busy and it'll just kind of fall by the wayside.
Yeah.
You probably need to pay sales tax every month.
Or every quarter, you have to determine what your state and local rules are, right? So you figure that out or have somebody figure it out for you and make it a part of either your monthly review or your quarterly review, however it has to be done. But if you don't have somebody doing it for you, then you need to make sure that you're reminding yourself somehow. And if you're not paying attention to things on a regular basis, you're going to get lost in it.
Yeah, I'd also maybe, and I'm stretching here to say that you have to do this every month. Mm-hmm. But if you write up a quote, or if you have an order that people fill out online, just make sure that all the language in it is legally appropriate and hasn't changed. Mm-hmm. So if your quote says net 30, make sure it's net that's what you mean. Mm-hmm. Make sure that you're not violating any local ordinances or laws, especially if you are kind of I'm going to say this and it's going to make people angry. If you're in like a traditional screen printer that uses traditional screen printing ink, you need to make sure that all of your legal stuff with Am I really allowed to do this in my city or county or location? Am I disposing of all this stuff properly? Because in the beginning, when I wasn't using much, it was no big deal to put it in my garbage can. But now I'm filling up 2 garbage cans a week out of the back of my house. Someone is going to notice. So whatever business you're in, just make sure that you've got all your legal stuff tight.
Yeah, and that stuff can be a little tricky too. I mean, mentioning the chemical stuff, how do you know if your city or county or state has changed some sort of environmental laws?
Right.
I'm not asking you necessarily, but it's not an easy answer to say. How would I know? I'm not sure. So yeah. If you have an attorney that you work with, or there's a website you can go to, or if there's a hotline that you can call for the state, you can ask questions like that. And again, maybe monthly is too much for something like that. But in regards to your legal stuff and your monthly check-in, maybe every quarter or every 6 months on that particular event, hopefully you're putting this stuff in a calendar, you're putting, check for any changes in laws in regards to the type of business I do.
Yeah. Actually, I think maybe on a monthly basis, you just decide that you're going to think hard about the legal stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to pay attention. You're going to say,
analyze it a bit. Yeah.
Taxes, licenses, anything changed. I'm good. All my quote language, my order language is all good. I've got terms and conditions on my website. Like all that is still taken care of. We're good.
Good. And I think that that covers everything. I mean, Mark put a note in here, homeowners associations, do you run a business from your home? If you do, be sure you're not doing anything that's in violation, because it would suck to get a letter in the mail and just be like, what am I going to do?
Yeah. Hey, Mark Vila, I noticed when I was driving by your house, you had the garage open and there was commercial manufacturing equipment.
Yeah.
Which is what apparel decoration equipment is sometimes categorized, and that's against our HOA regulations. You have 72 hours to shut that down.
Yeah. Which is why I recommend in front of your house, you put like a series of like flames that shoot up and hide your garage. This way you can open the garage and nobody can see in beyond the flame wall. So
I like that.
I mean, that actually, in my HOA, flame walls are approved. I just don't know about yours, so check. But you are going to have neighbors like that are just ruiners.
Yeah,
they're the same type of people who are jerk customers, probably. But and in all seriousness, it is important to just understand and know those things and know where you're sitting, so you don't have any surprises.
Yep.
There's something we don't have on the list that I think is just worth a brief thing. Cleanup.
Go
through your shop, your room. If you have a full business or a full warehouse, or you just have a single room that you're working out of, whatever it is, sweep, mop, pick up, scrape paint stuff off the floor, empty buckets, whatever it might be. Just do a quick little monthly cleanup. Also, electronic cleanups are good too. Empty that downloads folder, move all the invoices to the proper places, go into your accounting software. The cleanup is a part of the accounting stuff too, just general cleanup is good electronically, physically, and then mentally too. Probably not a bad idea to meditate on a little bit of your ideas and dump out the stuff in your head that's driving you nuts, and take in the new thoughts or energy that are going to, make you strive to do something great next month.
Yeah.
The gut check.
I'm writing things down.
Great. So this is all this stuff is going to be in the show notes on customapparelstartups.com. Mark's typing some of the things I've added in right now. So if you're listening to this and you want to see a list like this, go to the podcast website and you can find episode 183 and you'll see all these notes and all the other episodes that we've got on approximately 180 plus other topics that you might find interesting for your business, and a bunch of notes on those topics as well. So definitely buzz through. If this is your first episode you've listened through, thank you. I think we've got a bunch of great stuff out there. And the really old stuff's probably potato quality because it's like 7 years old or something. but it's still pretty good content.
It really is. We still refer to those early.
Yeah, I've thought about us kind of going through some of those old episodes and doing redos.
Of course, it wasn't video. We were just holding up pieces of paper in front of the camera with our notes. There was just like no audio. It's like we used a flip chart, like when you're doing a presentation.
All the math was abacus.
So,
well, great. The purpose and the final note we put here, the purpose of the monthly checkup is not always just pricing or paying bills, but that gut check is important. And it's really, though, I think from a highest level, it's creating consistent habit of checking all of the important things on a regular basis.
Yeah.
Making sure you don't forget details, making sure you don't misplace thoughts, ideas, and things you wanted to do. And what happens is humans in general, people with the human brain, you will recognize patterns and oddities without actually saying you're trying to look for them.
Right.
It's just something that we can do.
Yep.
So if you're looking every month at all of these things will stand out as a good pattern, a bad pattern, or an anomaly. And then you get to address that because you're used to looking at this stuff, which is going to put you ahead of all the people who don't do that and let it get away till it's too late or it becomes a big mess.
I agree. And I have a final challenge for everyone.
Okay. I'm ready.
To go through at least 20 episodes of the CAS podcast and look at the wall behind Mark Vila.
Okay.
and let us know if you notice any changes. That is your goal for noticing anomalies.
Have you noticed any changes?
I won't say, because I really just want people to listen to 20 episodes of the podcast and pay close attention. So
curious.
There may not have been. All right. Anyway, that was great, Mark. Thanks for this episode number 183. I thought it's really useful. Hope you all got something out of it.
Absolutely. If you have any ideas for episodes or something you'd like us to cover that we haven't or revisit, please reach out to us and let us know, and we'll turn it into something.
Sounds good. You guys have a great business.